What's going on, everyone? Welcome into a home edition of the Cleveland Browns Report by Chat Sports. Matthew Peterson here with some roster cuts. It is that season, right? The Browns have to get down to the 53-man roster limit by 4 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday, and Andrew Berry is picking up the phone and playbooks are being handed in. So 4 cuts were made today and an IR move, all according to Brad Stainbrook from the Orange and Brown Report and some other sources like Tom Pelissero for various different players. But Chris Odom, the defensive end, you might remember him. He was the signing from the USFL about 3 weeks ago. He was carted off the field yesterday, and indeed, it was an ACL injury, so he is on IR. His season is done with the Browns. Bummer to see that. Hopefully he can recover nicely and get back on the field next training camp. Now, as for the 4 cuts that were made, Javon Wims, Ben Petrula, Curtis Weaver, and Glen Logan. So, not too shocking. I don't think anyone is blown away by this. Javon Wims, I kind of got drunk on his Kool-Aid yesterday because he was just the only guy in the fourth quarter who was sort of worth watching on offense, right? He kind of took the role of, hey, fourth quarter preseason football, it can get pretty tough to watch. I'll make it bearable, throw it deep, I'll make a couple nice grabs, and people will kind of ride that high thinking, could Javon Wims make this roster? I mean, I, for a moment yesterday, thought he might have a shot when you couple with, he's got some experience. He's played in the NFL before. He was a 7th-round pick for the Chicago Bears out of Georgia back in 2018. He's played in the regular season. He's got regular season touchdowns. It was sort of, I wouldn't say off the field issues. It was character issues on the field that led to his sort of release in Chicago and overall moving on from him. And Anthony Schwartz. And I don't want this to become an Anthony Schwartz show because I think everyone's on the same page. It's not on a good path. I may be different than other people where I say preseason's not going to be the final straw that broke the camel's back for him, right? Ooh, my dog popping in the camera. But I think we're going to see, hello, Cruz. All right, back on track for Anthony Schwartz. He's definitely not playing like someone who's just going to be able to flip a switch in the regular season, but I'm not going to say it's all over and burn it down because of preseason football, right? I'll have those takes after the regular season or during the regular season, after the first game. So those are the 4 cuts that were made right there. Before we do a little bit of a deeper dive on them, I want to throw a quick question to everyone watching because I've got my answer, but I want to know your answer to this question. Who is a surprise candidate to make this roster? Someone that people were not talking about going into training camp in the preseason as a real legit contender to crack the 53-man roster. I've got my answer. Let me know what yours is down in the comments. We probably have the same guy in mind here. I wish I could be extra creative, but it's got to be D'Anthony Bell. He's just a ball hawk, right? He has a knack for making plays. And that's just too tough to pass on. From West Florida, I am all in on D'Anthony Bell. In fact, I even tweeted out Grant Delpit and D'Anthony Bell are your starting safeties in 2023. Not this year, no. But I wouldn't be shocked if the Browns sort of, I wouldn't say get lucky, but maybe that's not a huge position of need for them next offseason. If they like what they have in Delpit, D'Anthony Bell, and all of a sudden maybe their first or second pick doesn't have to be another safety. And who knows with John Johnson as well. So that is definitely a name to keep an eye on for as we get closer to this 53-man roster because Richard LeCounte has not had a good preseason. Bummer to see. He was almost the D'Anthony Bell of last preseason. But, he's a little bit more notoriety. He wasn't in UDFA. And then you got A.J. Green. A.J. Green, and this is just an injury side on him, A.J. Green and Richard LeCounte, according to Kevin Stefanski, are supposed to be good for week 1, at least by then. Now, I don't know if that was sort of a hint by Stefanski when he mentioned LeCounte along with A.J. Green of, yeah, they should be good by week 1, meaning, oh, so they're going to make the roster, right? That's definitely something to keep an eye out for. Now, as more roster cuts come down the wire, we'll be breaking it down here on the channel. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button today if you have not already. Now, let's talk about Javon Wims for a second, because I was one of those kind of beating the drum of keep an eye on Javon Wims to make this roster, maybe that 6th wide receiver, just as a bit of extra insurance if Anthony Schwartz really starts to stink, and all of a sudden it's Amari Cooper, DPJ, David Bell. You're one injury away from one of those guys, and all of a sudden it's someone who's very untested going out on the field, right? A Mike Harley Jr. or Jamarcus Bradley, so to speak, compared to Javon Wims, who at least has some real receptions in the NFL in a regular season game. He scored 2 touchdowns, I think. So, again, we're talking about the 53rd guy to make this roster. Would he really have a huge impact anyway? Probably not. I think that's kind of something we all come guilty of in preseason, where we get super invested in these guys, and then unfortunately, we rarely get to see them actually play much in the regular season for meaningful minutes. So speaking of the regular season, just let me know if you are ready for real football, because preseason football is fun and all, but there is something that gets lost, I think, when we start talking about this is the last weekend without football for the next, 6 months or whatever it is. No, it's not, okay? Football starts week 1 in September. So let me know, type me, type Go Browns, whatever. I just want to see everyone that's interested and everyone that's really excited for real football to be coming around the corner. All right, so going through the rest of my notes for today's show, like we mentioned, the 4 guys waived / cut, released, whatever you fancy. Curtis Weaver, probably the most notable name of the bunch, wouldn't you say so? Has been with the Browns for the last couple of seasons. Former 5th-round pick, if I remember correctly, for the Dolphins out of Boise State. So that's a name right there. Ben Petrula, the offensive tackle, Javon Wims, and then Glen Logan was the defensive tackle out of LSU. So those are the 4 cuts that were made. Let me just check Twitter, make sure no more cuts have been made as I'm filming right now. No, it does not appear so. So that paired with Chris Odom going on the IR, the Browns have gone from 80 down to 75, and there will be a lot more moves coming away, because this is going to be a long, downfall for 27 players to get from 80 to 53. So make sure you are subscribed here at the channel, as we will be breaking down all of those cuts as they come out, leading up to the Tuesday 4 p.m. Eastern deadline. That will do it for our home edition of the Browns Report. Really appreciate all of you guys for tuning in, joining us here tonight, and we'll see you all later back in the studio with all the bells and whistles and whatnot tomorrow here on the channel.